A defense and an offense that is bad ever since what, week 12? The Eagles. If you're the Eagles front office, do you fire Nick Sirianni after they get booted in the first round by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I mean,
Absolutely.
let's wait for that to happen. But
It's what Philly does, man. Even if they don't, if it's a close game and then you get booted out in the second round because you play Dallas, you play the 49ers, you play whoever, you get booted out in the second round because you play a much better team than you are, but you played a really, really close game to the Niners or to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Do you still fire Nick Sirianni?
I
No,
I feel like
no.
they gotta perform way worse. I understand the meltdown on Sunday was catastrophic. Eagles looked like the worst team in the league, damn near. But I feel like you got to do way worse to really merit Sirianni getting fired because he has that locker room. Guys like him.
There's
They
been a lot
play.
of rumors of the last 4 weeks saying that nobody in the locker room likes Sirianni.
Okay, you're gonna have to like send me a link on that because I. That's a
Oh yeah,
pretty big
there's been a
turnaround
lot
from
of
the way
stuff
that team played for him in the playoffs
last
last year
year.
in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like,
Do you
And
think that
that's
was
why it's
more
so
on the
surprising.
coordinators though? Because both offensive and defensive coordinators are gone. You see,
Exactly.
the Andy's doing great with their coordinator that they got. Or Arizona played decent for a little while. They're on the rise up with their coordinator. Do you think it was all coordinator work last year, and Nick Sirianni's just another guy?
well, even though they still have big play Slay, the personnel on the back end was one of the main problems for their defense. They couldn't hold anybody's receivers.
I
Their
guess they
their
could.
their D backs were atrocious this year.
They held a lot.
I cannot put that all on a coach. It's NFL
It's not
plays
like
their
their
players
offense and
because that's
defense
what they fucking
is
do. Like the players weren't
their
there.
offense and defense is completely the same personnel as it was last year. The only thing they lost on defense was uh CJ Gardner Johnson. That's it.
They lost more than that.
They didn't
And
lose
then they
much.
also brought in Kevin Byard
Jalen
to
Carter.
replace Jalen
That's
Carter. Like
that's
they
D
did
line.
not lose
I'm talking
anything.
about all DBs.
That's still
The only person they lost was CJ Gardner Johnson, and then they brought in Kevin Byard to replace him.
I'm looking it up
it.
right now, but I
It all
know
comes down to Big Dom. Ever since the NFL suspended him from the sideline, they have lost pretty much every single
It
game.
came down to Big Dumb. They were
He's
the
a pretty
first team in
I'd
Olympian.
much
NFL
rather
history.
see it as the Chiefs curse. Like you had to beat us, and then the rest of your season was
That's what I was
they
thinking.
had
But
to they had
they
to
were the
win their
first
regular season Super Bowl, and then they were spent.
they were the first team, Tybo, in NFL history to start the season 10-1 and to not win at least 12 games. They were 10-1. They
Love to
were
see that.
flying high. They were beating everyone. They won one game since then.
And
They ended up
you
with the
would
same record as the Chiefs,
you
who
would
didn't play
think
any of their starters on week 18.
you would think that the Eagles learned something from last year of a chance of getting their players hurt in the final game of the year against the Giants. But yet they didn't. They still play their starters this game. I granted you're fighting for seeding, but at some point you got to realize that these are your starters. You're getting blown out. Don't get these guys hurt because AJ Brown went down with an injury, and Jalen Hurts' his finger was messed up. You guys see that?
Throwing that was his throwing hand, right? That was the right
Yeah,
hand.
he came back in and played some more, but that did not look good.
Is he left-handed or is he right-handed? I don't
Right.
remember. Is he right? So yeah, I'm that looked broken.
I don't know how he came back.
So
Well,
and
he
it's
did
the
come
middle
back in and throw
finger.
an interception, so
Well, that goes to show everything that we needed to know that they're going to get blown out by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Super Wild Card Weekend.
I wouldn't say blown out. Probably like
Blown out. They just
nine
got
points is
blown out
not a
by the
blowout.
Giants.
9 points is not a blowout.
They just got blown out by the Giants.
9-0.
Don't worry about it. Panthers are fighting for something. Somebody who's not fighting for anything, the Jacksonville Jaguars. What the hell has happened to this team? I know you
All right,
guys
hey,
don't like
to
them.
get before you move away from this, just to reiterate and bolster my point, the only two returning players, or at least starters playing players from their last year's defense in the fucking secondary were their top two corners. Darius Slay, James Bradbury are still on the team. Everything else was brand new. Their depth was gone. They don't have a good third corner. Fucking Reed Blankenship is their other fucking safety. Who the fuck is that? Their personnel is different from last year. They're not as deep on the back end as they were last year. They lost more than just.
And they have an entire new defensive scheme.
Right. But it comes down
I'm
to
blaming the
players making
coach.
plays on the field.
I'm blaming it to not having the same DC.
Okay.
Everybody else is just as good up front, yet their defensive line isn't as good as they were last year either.
Matt Patricia is their DC right now. That is no good.
Oof. They've actually gone through 2 DCs this year. They've technically gone through 3 defensive coordinators in 2023.
Well, it's 2024 now, so.
Well, it is now, but now they've only got 1 in 2024. Good job, Sean. You can count.
Thank you.
All right, Lions.